Hey everybody, I have my Christmas fiend here because that makes about as much sense as WWE's current booking in 2026. We're not here to talk negatively. There's a lot of things I could go on and on about WWE in the year of 2026, but there are some good things, and not just WWE, in wrestling in general. And this, I wanted to just talk about some of my favorite matches midway through the year of 2026. So this is kind of just a random listing of matches that I have really enjoyed from this year. It's not necessarily like I'm not ranking these. I'm just saying these are my favorites that I've watched from this year. And I'm not saying like this is number one, number two, it's self-explanatory. So first one, which was kind of early in the year, despite WWE's horrible booking and awful weekly television in the year 2026, there was one really great match on an episode of Raw, which was Gunther against Dragon Lee. This was fresh off of the Royal Rumble in Saudi Arabia. AJ Styles ended up retiring because Gunther beat him in his retirement match, and Dragon Lee was pissed because Dragon Lee, of course, teamed with AJ Styles very brief. And this match with Gunther and Dragon Lee was awesome. Like, it was super visceral. You really felt like the anger and hatred from Dragon Lee in this match. I really enjoyed it. And Gunther was great. I mean, I think they're kind of ruining Gunther's character. You had him retire multiple legends, basically, and now he's just kind of like looking silly, but that's besides the point. Like, this match itself against Dragon Lee was great. And I love that, like, Dragon Lee not like was about to beat Gunther, but just like the end of this match, like Gunther had to resort to ripping off Dragon Lee's mask in order to feel like he had the advantage of some sort, because Dragon Lee was he just kept going at him and just great storytelling, just great athleticism. And yeah, like, I love the emotion in this match. So next up is one that people are going to say this is probably one of the best wrestling matches ever. I'm hearing ever. I have watched it. I would say it's an excellent match. The only thing I wish differently on this match is I wish I watched this rivalry in real time, because I'm sure I would have elevated this as being like truly incredible. I'm happy for the people who did follow this in real time. I only happened to just watch the actual match because WWE was basically like, hey, look, we did this with AAA, and that is the mask versus mask, original El Grande Americano against El Grande Americano. And yeah, incredible match. Like, I don't really have any complaints for this. I loved the length of this match. It truly brought everything great about professional wrestling to the forefront. It didn't feel overbooked, despite this having like multiple distractions or run-ins from people. It never took away from just the, Chad Gable and Ludwig Kaiser against each other. I've really enjoyed this match. Yeah, like I said, definitely one of my favorites of the year so far. I would just say, because I just didn't follow it like on a week-to-week basis, like that can make a match usually, as far as like being like a classic. I mean, you can just watch a classic good match, but if you followed like a good rivalry, that elevates it way more. And because I just never, followed this on a week-to-week basis, a lot of people online were just like, this is the best, feud of the year right now, before this match even happened. And then, the big blow off with this match. But yeah, this match was fantastic. I am mad I kind of watched this on the Netflix presentation, because WWE loves to do the whole, once blood is shown, they have to cut to black and white. And it's funny because they posted this match on their YouTube and they didn't censor it. And I'm like, you guys are on Netflix. Like, when people go on Netflix and watch a show, they know what the TV rating is, whether it's appropriate to watch or not. It's like, blood happens in wrestling sometimes, so why did you have to cut it to black and white? I don't understand that. It's like network television, I kind of get that, but on Netflix you had to cut away to black and white when it showed blood. That kind of took me out of the match a little bit, so maybe that contributed to why I didn't like it nearly as much as other people. But regardless, this was fantastic, and I am excited of, just as long as WWE knows how to book Chad Gable now going forward, yeah, I'm excited to see what Chad Gable does next. Another match that started at the beginning of the year, the Cody Rhodes against Drew McIntyre in the 3 Stages of Hell match. I honestly don't think I've ever watched a 3 Stages of Hell match, so I think this is my very first one. I know Stone Cold Steve Austin and Triple H had a pretty good one, but like 3 Stages of Hell, I don't think I've ever watched one of those matches before, but this is a really good one. I mean, despite the booking with Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre, this should have been a classic feud, but it just wasn't, because they had no idea how to write it. They just dragged things out and made Drew look stupid through out most of it. This was a great match, I think, because they genuinely just pulled the trigger and people were like actually shocked they had Drew win this match, and he became the undisputed champion. Very briefly, got screwed over again because WWE loves to screw Drew McIntyre in every booking, no matter what. That's just, it must be written in his contract or something. But yeah, this was still a really fun match. It's funny that it's called the 3 Stages of Hell match because it was like, what was it? The first one was just a regular wrestling match, then it was Falls Count Anywhere, and then a steel cage. Which, like, when you think 3 Stages of Hell, maybe it's just my extremity mind, but I'm thinking like, oh, maybe, steel cage, a table match, and then Hell in a Cell. I don't know. Like, this is me spitballing, but it's like, I thought the stakes would have been a little more extreme. Especially, you would have thought this would have been like a blow-off match, but, WWE and their corporatization through TKO, they're like, oh, we got to have Cody Rhodes as champion, and they need to do something to shake it up, because Cody's always interesting when he's chasing the title. It's never when he has the title. We're just talking about the matches here. I would say, yeah, this was a really good one. The one, like, actual good match between Drew and Cody. But yeah, their feud should have been a classic feud, but WWE has no idea how to write these shows at this point in time. Like, I don't know what they're doing. Next up is the ladder match at WrestleMania 42 with Penta, Rey Mysterio, Rusev, JD McDonough, Dragon Lee, and Javon Evans. I think I named all of them. But yeah, this match was awesome. Basically, you just want just insane chaoticness in a ladder match. And for a pretty short ladder match, this absolutely delivered. I know everyone on the internet complained about WrestleMania 42 with just the insane amount of commercials with just some wrestling spliced into your commercial program. Basically, this was one of the good ones that came out of WrestleMania 42. A lot of night 2 was a lot better than night 1. Night 1 was like genuinely bad. This was one of the great ones. Yeah, you have to have like one good, if you're gonna have a loaded WrestleMania, like, have a ladder match, and they absolutely delivered. Javon Evans doing an OG cutter to Rusev. I like that Rusev basically had to jump off the ladder to catch the OG cutter from Javon Evans. That was pretty funny. But yeah, some just crazy stuff. Obviously, if you have Penta, Rey Mysterio, and Dragon Lee involved, like, you're gonna have some crazy stunts going on. And I like that Rusev was in this because he was kind of the odd man out. It was like he was just the big strong man, like a match full of super, like, athletic flippy dudes, and JD McDonough just took some gnarly bumps because he's just really good at that. But yeah, that was a really fun match. So while we're on the subject of WrestleMania 42, this one was just a great wrestling match, and I'm a sucker for just like an old school feel of a wrestling match, and that was Roman Reigns and CM Punk for the World Heavyweight Championship on main eventing night 2. I love this match merely because Roman had no shenanigans, no run-ins from the bloodline. That's definitely going to change now, but at this current moment, like, I love that, the build-up to this match was kind of hit and miss. There was some good stuff. There was some really not great stuff. The match itself was fantastic, and I love the storytelling of this match. It just felt pure old-school wrestling, especially with WWE nowadays. It's like, you rarely ever see a match like this, where it's just the two people just in the ring. There's no other outside interference, and that's what I loved about this match. So definitely one of my favorites for this year. Next up might actually be my personal favorite wrestling match of this year. That could change. I'm not to sound pessimistic, but I don't really see me changing my mind on this one. But that's Takeshita against Okada at Double or Nothing for the International Championship. This match was awesome. I love Japanese wrestlers, and this just reminds me of how good wrestling can be. I just had such a blast watching this match. Both these guys just told an amazing story in the ring. It was just good old classic Japanese wrestling, and yeah, it was fantastic. And this was like the second match of Double or Nothing, and I went into this just thinking like, okay, this will be fine. And then by the end of the match, I was like, that was awesome. And then you had Kyle Fletcher returning to thinking like he was gonna side with Takeshita, and then he turned again and was siding with the Don Callis family. Most of the crowd was, chanting asshole at him. And you had the angle after the match, but the match itself, if there was nothing after this match, with just Takeshita winning, it still was amazing. I thought it was the vignette, like promo from Takeshita, like leading up to this match was awesome. I'm a huge Takeshita fan since this match, so I know there's probably some AEW fans out there would be like, this is the first time you've seen, Takeshita and Okada or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, it's awesome. I just hopped on board the AEW train. Like, I watched AEW All In like 2023, and then I never really picked up on AEW because it's like I just didn't have cable. And now that like HBO Max picks up AEW stuff, now I'm getting into it. And so I was like, I watched a few weeks leading up to Double or Nothing. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to watch this. I mean, I think it will deliver. And I mean, Double or Nothing was great. Yeah, that match itself was amazing. Staying on the train of Double or Nothing, Jericho, the Elite, and the Hurt Syndicate against the Don Callis family, the Dogs, and the Demand. The Stadium Stampede match. This was like, normally matches like this aren't really my thing. I'm like, you know what you're getting, and it's just kind of whatever to me. This match was just a lot of fun. It was really ridiculous. The vignettes leading up to the match were also really good. I loved Kenny Omega with Jericho's team. Like, he was just like trying to act all cool and like smoking a cigar, and like he just starts like coughing because he's like not like a cigar smoker. So I liked he didn't take himself super seriously. And this match wasn't meant to be taken super seriously. And honestly, I liked, ever since Jericho returned with feuding with Ricochet was like really funny. Yeah, this was just a great match. There was just a whole lot of nonsense. And I think it was some rules with like the venue of Double or Nothing. They couldn't actually brawl through the crowd or anything like that. So there was like some pre-shot stuff, but the way it was done, I thought was pretty creative. And I mean, it didn't really affect like how enjoyable this was. Just some insane stuff. Like when they were in the ring, just the amount of crazy athleticism from everybody, all the dives to the outside, it was just super entertaining. All the table spots. Like, I had so much fun watching the Stadium Stampede. And then moving on to another one. This was my last Double or Nothing match, but that was Edge and Christian against FTR in the Tag Team I Quit match. This was just super fun. A great way to kick off the show. The stipulation with Edge and Christian could no longer be a tag team if they lose this match. Yeah, I mean, you just had some great spots. I mean, you had, stuff with barbed wire. Like, it was a brutal match, but it wasn't like one of these where it was like, oh my God, that's like, I can't take that, type thing. Like, it was like just enough brutality that it was still like really fun throughout the whole thing. FTR, pile driving Beth Phoenix, and Beth Phoenix comes back, and then they are about to, like, one of the guys from FTR is about to like spear Beth through like a flaming table, calling back to Edge and Mick Foley's match from an old WrestleMania. And so Beth like pulls their like manager in front of her, and then he gets speared and both the guys go through the table. That takes them out. Dax Harwood is the only one left, and then so Edge and Christian are just like putting him in a double submission, and then Beth Phoenix hands Edge the spiked bat, and he just presses it up against Dax's face. He finally like screams, "I quit." It's great stuff. I love the spot where, as silly as it is, because it's like, you can tell it's just like, oh, they put Christian's hand inside this cinder block, and so they're hitting this chair over a cinder block. It's funny because he's like selling it but not really selling it, and so they stick the microphone in his face and then trying to get him to say "I quit." And Christian's like, "I banged your mother." Like, it's like, that's just classic Christian there. Yeah, really funny stuff, really fun. Yeah, this was a blast. And okay, one final one from Double or Nothing, which is Will Ospreay against Samoa Joe. And this was part of the Owen Hart tournament, but Will Ospreay and Samoa Joe, like, it was fantastic. Like, Will Ospreay is definitely one of my favorites from AEW right now. And just some of the stuff they did was ridiculous. And Samoa Joe, like, I haven't watched too many of his matches, but Samoa Joe always works really well with like small wrestlers. It was like he did like 2 matches, I think, with Finn Balor in NXT, and I loved those matches. They were great. And yeah, this was no exception. Will Ospreay is super entertaining. Yeah, I don't have any complaints. I don't really have much to say. It was just, I watched, this match and was like, that was one of my favorites. I mean, there was tons of good matches on Double or Nothing, but, there was like, 3, 4 really good ones. Yeah, the Will Ospreay Samoa Joe match was one of them. Finally, I don't know if this is an underwhelming last pick, but there's, WWE, I'm going back to WWE for this one. But Seth Rollins, I would say some of his booking actually has stayed fairly okay through this year. I actually do like Seth Rollins' character as of this current moment. I do like he's kind of dropped the whole, like, not Joker, but like kind of Joker-ish type character where he's just like laughs maniacally at random things. And when he first started the Vision, it was kind of like that. He was still that character. And now he's just kind of like this dressing up kind of like John Wick like type character and like a little more grounded. I like that he kind of just has this edge to his babyface character now. And I find that he's like really likable because of that. He's not like just this cartoon character anymore. And so I'm really liking him as a babyface now. His feud with Braun Breaker over the Vision and such, after Seth came back from injury, the two matches so far that Seth and Braun have had against each other, the one at Backlash from this year, and then their second one was just on an episode of Raw. I love both those matches. I thought they were great. I was enjoying the feud with Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker. I mean, it was definitely delayed. I mean, obviously when you have injuries, it definitely doesn't help your situation, but yeah, Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker have had a great rivalry so far. They do have, at the time I'm recording this, they do have a steel cage match scheduled for Night of Champions, which will be kind of their blow-off match. Steel cage match, it's kind of like, it's not that bad. I mean, I would have thought maybe Hell in a Cell, but then again, I don't think their rivalry is that intense. It's not like a Drew McIntyre CM Punk type rivalry where it's just like you have to blow it off with Hell in a Cell. I mean, I think Steel Cage is fine, but I mean, I have no doubt that Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker are going to have a great third match. But yeah, their first two matches I've really enjoyed. I mean, I love how Seth pulled kind of a Bret Hart from, WCW in the 90s where he was holding up, he like had the championship belt around his waist or whatever, and Braun Breaker tried to spear him and knocked himself loose. I like that from their second match. And yeah, their match at Backlash was great this year. So I have no doubt it's going to be a good one for their third one. But yeah, I mean, this is just kind of like, a halfway list of the year. So I just wanted to list some of the ones that I really enjoyed. Everyone's got their list. If you're a hardcore wrestling fan, you definitely have your favorites already from this year. For me, I don't watch TNA or some of the other stuff. I try to check it out when I can, but, for the most part, it's WWE or AEW. Yeah, this was, so far there have been some good matches this year, but WWE has been a total wreck in 2026. So I've kind of, revolted and gone with AEW recently. I am trying to keep up with WWE, but even like watching highlights, I'm like, why did they do this? I don't care about Jey Uso. I don't care about the bloodline. Like you guys clearly are out of ideas. Like you have no big ideas right now. So you have to rehash old storylines again. Anyways, before I go off on a tangent, I will wrap this up. So if you have a list of ones that you really enjoyed from this year so far, match-wise, you can list them in the comments. I'm all for, creating a conversation. I'm sure there's ones I didn't list that people are like, why didn't you include this one and such? Thank you all for watching. Give me a thumbs up. It's greatly appreciated. I will see you all in a future video. Bye.